Good morning. I guess it's still morning. Actually, it's lunch. Okay. Welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, my name is Erika Jane, and I make videos on intentional living, mental health, food, periods, as you'll see today, and a whole bunch of other topics. Thank you for stopping by, for sitting in and watching this. If you don't have a drink going and you'd like one, go grab one. I'm just sipping on some coffee here now. I thought it'd be fun to just do kind of like a little sit down chat type of thing, and I haven't made a video in a really long time. Last year I was working the entire year, and now I have not been working out of the home for the last 2 months now about. So definitely a big transition in terms of my routine and I guess what I actually have had time to do recently. So I guess lately my main focus has been trying to heal myself. Easier said than done. But I think I've made quite a bit of progress, and I'm excited to start sharing some more videos and some more content with you. I've been working a ton on my blog and just creating some more printables and kind of mental health resources I wish I had when I was going through certain experiences. So yeah, I guess let's just jump right into the video. I wanted to touch back on the topic of low waist periods and periods in general, I guess you could say, or menstruation. I think it's a topic that is very, I don't know, people talk about it, but it's like when I first started my period, I didn't have access to a lot of the information that's available now, or that I guess is accessible now. So today I kind of wanted to share with you 5 things I wish I knew when I first got my period, and just about periods and fertility in general. And I'll give you guys a quick update on how mine has been recently, and an update on my low waist period routine as well. So let's just jump right into that. Take a sip. So I guess I'll start off by giving you guys an update really on my current period. So recently I would say it has started to improve. I would say about 6 months ago, it started to get unbelievably, like, maybe a bit more than that. Maybe like 8 months ago, it just started to become like unbearable. Like I could not function when I had my period, to the point where there was one experience, the one that really kind of made me scared. I thought I was gonna die. I legitimately thought my partner was gonna wake up and find me on the bathroom floor. Like that was the point I was at. I was in agony. I was like in and out of consciousness, almost blacking out, like in the bathroom, just profusely bleeding. Sorry, TMI. But yeah, if you know, you know. Yeah, to the point where I was like, what is happening? Like, do I need to go to the hospital like now? I was vomiting. I was, yeah, everything coming out of everywhere. It was just not a good time. Didn't end up passing out. Didn't end up going to the hospital that time. But it did lead to me starting to investigate it a bit more. So I actually went and saw an internal medicine doctor, and they are now referring me to a gynecologist. It's about a 3-year wait, Nova Scotia, for a female gynecologist. So I'm on a wait list for a male gynecologist because they think it'll be faster. And I guess their theory, or kind of like what they think I'm dealing with, they think it's primarily endometriosis. So that's a type of cell really that grows in your body, an endometrial cell. Probably not going to be the best at explaining this, but I'll try and include some information on what the diagnosis of endometriosis kind of entails. You can't diagnose it unless you literally go inside. So right now it's all speculation, and I meet all the symptoms externally, like horribly heavy periods, like black/brown spotting the last couple days, absolute agony during my period, after my period, ovulation, everything in between. Yeah, it's been not great, to say the least. And it comes in waves. Like some cycles it's okay, others it's not. And it's really hard to predict because my period comes sometimes 2.5 weeks apart, sometimes 3 weeks apart. I think the longest I've had without a period was like 23 days. And then it just starts right back up again. So there is not a lot of time where I'm not on it. Yeah, so I guess that's where my period's at right now. I have been meeting with a homeopathic doctor. She's incredible. Cannot recommend homeopathy enough. And I feel like I lucked out enough to I guess, get in contact with my homeopathic doctor when I did. And I've now been a patient of hers for almost 3 years, I would say. And she has, changed my life for the better. So I'm being treated with phosphorus, which is a remedy for a few other symptoms as well, but it also targets endometriosis. So I've been slowly noticing some reduction, I guess, in my severity of symptoms. I no longer find that I'm like in the bathroom on the verge of passing out like during my period. It's usually like I get up too fast and we're going down, but not like just constantly I'm blacking out. So that's an improvement. So yeah, I guess that's where my periods are at now. I've always thought I've been infertile, which is kind of a hard topic to think about or talk about, and I'm still not really sure. So I don't use traditional birth control. I don't use the pill. I stopped taking that maybe 3 years ago, give or take, almost 4, because of the side effects I was having from birth control. So I was initially put on the pill when I was 15. Yeah, so I've been on it I was on it for like probably 8 years. I hadn't even been 25 yet. So that was something I really wanted to get out of my system. So I started looking into the fertility awareness method by Tony. I forget her last name. I will include that here and in the link below. But this method has changed my life. And who knows, maybe it'll change yours. But I guess this kind of dives into my 5 things I wish I knew about periods. So you don't need conventional birth control to not get pregnant. So our bodies are pretty capable of maintaining themselves and functioning when we support them the way they should be supported. So right now, the way the world is, we're constantly trying to throw things at it that affect our body's way of coming into homeostasis. So homeostasis would basically be like your body being like, one, it's all, everything's working smooth, everything's together, like homeostasis. I'll include the actual definition here because I don't think I'm giving it justice. But so the intention there is to bring your body back to its natural state, and then you can actually figure out what's going on. So that was a big part of getting off birth control myself. And I think a very big misconception when young girls and women first get their period is birth control is often prescribed as a way to maintain or kind of make the cycles more regular. So you can predict them every few weeks, which in reality, that's not healthy and that's not the way your body is meant to function. So when you first start your period, it's going to take probably a few years before you actually have a cycle that you can count on and predict. So when you're like 10, 15, I'm not sure when I got mine, I think 13, my first period. But I am hearing that people are getting them a bit younger now. So when I first got my period, it was horrid. The cramps were horrible, pain, like just, yeah, horrible in pain, horrible in bleeding. I I didn't really suffer from acne that much because of my period, but then their reaction was to put me on birth control kind of immediately. So they put me on Yaz, and then that was pulled for blood clots, and they put me on another birth control, and I've probably been on like 10 or 15 types of birth control at this point, because when you're being put on them when your cycle's not even together, or really it doesn't know what it's doing, you're gonna keep running into breakthrough bleeding. You're gonna, like, your body is trying to figure itself out, and you're throwing medication at it that's not gonna help. It's actually gonna hinder it. So I guess that was the first really big thing I wish I knew. Birth control is not actually necessary to manage your periods, and there is probably a better way to manage them that will lead to less discomfort on your end. I definitely recommend looking into the fertility awareness method. Some doctors are familiar with it, some are not. It's not taught in medical school. I don't know why, but it is a valid, tested, proven method to get pregnant as well as abstain from pregnancy. So that's the method I use for monitoring my periods and pregnancy, and that has a few components to it. So the main ones are your basal body temperature, so your waking temperature. You check your temperature every morning, as well as your cervical mucus and the position of your cervix, I think. Yeah, the cervical position. So the key ones really there are going to be the cervical mucus and your basal body temperature. So when you are at your most fertile time, there'll be a change in your temperature, weirdly enough. So you can predict it down to like literally that day, I'm ovulating, like you'll know by charting. So I find it super empowering because you actually know what's going on in your body, and then you start to recognize these feelings, these symptoms, and then you can listen to yourself a lot more and advocate for yourself for a lot more, which I guess goes into number 2. So periods are not supposed to be excruciatingly painful. Yeah, I said it. They're not. You're not supposed to be in agony. That's not okay. So if you are in so much pain where you cannot function, you can't go to work, you can't stand up properly, you need to see your doctor, or look into it maybe in more of an alternative way. But you were not supposed to be in agony when you were on your period. Mild cramping, yeah, okay, like your uterus is shedding, but you should not be to the point of pain where you were vomiting. Like, that's a big sign of a problem. So yeah, this can be a really helpful way to kind of see if anything's going on. There's actually ways to chart your symptoms to diagnose and see if you have PCOS, endometriosis, as well as a few other different syndromes or problems you might encounter with your hormones. So yeah, I'll include a bunch of information here and down there for the fertility awareness method. Number 3, I think I actually mentioned this. It actually takes quite a few years from your first period to when you have a consistent regular cycle. So this I know is a big misconception, because often people are like, no, I get mine every day at this time. I know it. It's 28 days apart to a T. Like, all right, are you a magician? Like, because most people will not have that ability to predict their cycles to that extent. Especially if you have just gotten your period recently, maybe you've only had a few, chances are they're going to be pretty back and forth. You might have like an extended period of time where you don't have a period. You may have a few months where you have maybe a really intense, heavier period. You might have a lighter time. It's all just your body kind of regulating itself and figuring itself out. Yeah, even for me, one time I didn't have my period, like I got my period at 14 and I was in my second year of university. It was 19 and I didn't have my period for almost 6 months. And yeah, I wasn't pregnant. So there are lots of reasons. Number 4, there are more reasons than just pregnancy that your period can stop. And this can be a way to notify, like, find out about health problems or identify things maybe before they get a bit more serious. So missing your period, of course, can be a sign of pregnancy, but it can also be a sign of maybe you're undergoing an intense amount of stress. So our bodies actually interpret the environment around us, and if they think that we're at a point where it's too stressful and it's not safe to bring a baby into the world, your body will do what it can to prevent you from getting pregnant. So crazy to me. The human body is just wild. So if you're in an unsafe environment where you are like, in horrible amounts of stress, like I clearly was in my second year of university, your period might just stop. And it might come back later, might come back a few months down the road. Very hard to say. So there are many more reasons. Also hormonal imbalances, cysts. You may end up with some cysts on your ovaries. I have one in my breasts as well as here. You can see it, you might be able to. Kind of sticks out a bit. But yeah, these can all be reasons why your period will stop or maybe experience some changes. So it might not just be pregnancy. Also thyroid issues. If you have a thyroid imbalance, it may show up in stopping your period or an increased period. Sorry, I'm just looking down at my notes here. And yeah, I guess the fifth and final one, which I've kind of briefly talked about in a kind of a circle around way, it's a myth that your cycle should be 28 days. And ovulation on day 14. That is a total and complete myth, and it has led to so many women thinking that they are infertile, that they are not able to have kids, that they're broken in some way because they don't fit in this period. Okay, my cycle's 28 days, I ovulate on day 14, all right. And that's literally how people used to plan to have kids, and like, that was how it was orchestrated. This was the, okay, on day 14 you're ovulating, so this is when it's happening, we're doing the deed. But that's not accurate. You might ovulate on day 7, you might ovulate on day 29. Your cycle might last 34 days. Like, there is no, like, there is a normal range, like between 21 to 35 days, I believe it is. I'm out of here. But there is a very wide range in how our periods can kind of come out, and we're all different people. We all have different bodies. We've all experienced different things, and that's going to influence the way that our bodies do stuff. So that's a really big myth, that your cycle should last 28 days, and this definitely leads to people thinking that they can't get pregnant because they're trying so hard on the day that they should supposedly be able to get pregnant, and then they can't. So yes, your cycle can be as short as 21 days. It can be as long as 35 days. There's really quite a bit of wiggle room there. So that, I guess, is the top 5 things I wish I knew before getting my period. I guess before I hit 25, because I am just learning a lot of these things now. So I hope this helps. Maybe you were unaware of a few of these things before as well. Let's go into the updated low-waist period routine. So if you've checked out my last video on this, up here, you know I was previously purchasing my pads from the company Homeopathy. Now, I still actually purchase from this company, but they are now under a new name. So now it is Loom. I don't know if you can see that there. So this is their new line, and they actually have, before it was just organic cotton, and now they actually have added bamboo material as well. So that's a little fun. So here today I have with me a few overnight pads from their new collection, which is just the organic cotton. I didn't actually get any of the bamboo. I just find the organic cotton works the best for me. I might end up trying a bamboo at some point. But yeah, these are the overnight pads, as you can see, they're huge, and they work incredibly well. So for me, just with how severe and intense my periods are, I'm usually in so much pain and just bleeding so aggressively that I kind of just need to like put something on that's basically a diaper, like goes from my stomach all the way up to my back. You know. So these are great, and they actually hold the amount of blood of 3 super tampons. So one of these bad guys can hold a lot. So yeah, I usually use about 3 in a day, the overnight ones, when it first begins, and they have been, like, they're incredible. Now I'm gonna show you so this is the previous overnight one of their older brand, the Hannah pad, and this is just the difference here. So you can see, like, they've made the bottom part a bit wider on their new models, and it's a bit longer as well. So that is the first one. They were still just Hannah pad, and this is when it was, this is now a loom. And then for me, mostly I really use the overnight ones pretty much the entire duration of my period. And then like the last day, I can get away with one of the medium sizes, which are a little bit smaller. They just don't go as far up your butt. Seriously. So yeah, it just sits a bit lower down, and then this kind of goes up your butt. So this part's a bit shorter. So that works for kind of the lighter days or towards the end of the cycle. And then if you're anything like me, or you just have like maybe some spotting days towards the end, or like you think it's over and then it's like, just kidding, gotcha. I like to wear these in between those. So these are just their thong liners. So they're not super thick, they're just the liner quality. And these come in a pack of 5. I just find them super cute, super handy. And yeah, that's really all the sizes I have here. I never got a regular, I never got a size small of them. It just didn't make sense for me. I almost thought of doing the super overnight, but I held back. So that is what I need in that sense. I feel like these topics, for some, are very uncomfortable to talk about, and it becomes like, I don't know, almost too uncomfortable to the point where people won't ask about it, and then they're missing out on this, like, I think it's very vital information that you should have if you are a menstruating woman. You should be able to know that your body is capable of preventing you from getting pregnant without a pill or a medication. I think the fertility awareness method should be taught, even in schools maybe. Like, how incredible would it be if people were actually taught how to track their periods and identify if there was something wrong? Instead of just blindly going through life being like, I don't know why I'm in so much pain, and no doctors can figure it out either. I guess that's where it gets like kind of frustrating for me, and kind of why I want to put this information out there, because it has had like such a big impact on me and my day-to-day life. When I was taking birth control, the side effects of it were just like, they are not great. And yeah, I don't think it's fair that that has been, I don't know, pushed as the normal. But yeah, I guess this is an update to my low waist period routine. I hope you enjoyed, whether this was just a fun thing for you to watch, or you learned something from it. That's amazing. I really just appreciate your presence here, and I like making these videos. I'm gonna try and keep making them. Yeah. Really just try and push myself, see what I can do. Learning to have a bit more faith in myself. So hopefully I will carry that on with me, and maybe be able to bring a little bit of that to my channel. So for now, thank you so much for watching and for stopping by. If you made it through the whole video, thank you. I know you learned some TMI stuff about me today. Don't hold it against me. And if you see me on the verge of passing out, I'm probably on my period. In other news, sending you so much love. I hope you were doing okay and find some restful moments throughout all the chaos that is the world. How do people end this? How do people end videos? Hit that subscribe button. Oh, hit that bell. Click that thumb. That's how awkward I am. This is me in all my glory. Thanks for stopping by.